It's true, isn't it? It takes a village to raise a child. Yet, pregnant women can often feel alone and vulnerable. The issue of maternal mortality is not just a statistical problem, but a heart wrenching reality for countless families across the nation. This is especially true for Black women who continue to be left behind despite the progress made in reducing maternal deaths overall. It was sobering to read about Eli, who was eagerly anticipating the birth of her child. However, just 10 minutes after giving birth, she went into an emergency state and unfortunately lost her life. Our initial research showed that Virginia has taken lots of initiatives to address maternal mortality, like baby steps and improving Medicaid coverage. So, to find the gap, we decided to dig deeper into data.
We, the team Ignite Excellence, want to bring your attention to the alarming disparity between Black African American women. We are using this path for unmasking the maternal mortality by focusing on the age group of 15 to 54 years. We are utilizing an adjusted maternal mortality rate formula that takes into account the number of African American maternal deaths per every 100,000 live births for African American women. We are focusing on states neighboring Virginia, where Black African American women population is more than 15% of that state's women population in the age group of 15 to 54 years.
We did our analysis on wonder data from CDC on underlying causes of death and also nativity. We focused on states that have a population of more than 15% Black African American women. We used the adjusted maternal mortality rate for Black African American women in doing this analysis, and we compared these comparable states. So we have the percent of Black African American women population, the percent of births amongst these women, and also the adjusted maternal mortality. And we plotted trend lines that show you maternal mortality and then a higher level of maternal mortality amongst Black African women. So these some of the gaps are closing in, some are increasing, but across the states, you see that Black African American women are at a higher risk for the maternal mortality rate is higher and the trend lines are going upwards. We saw in MMRI data that maternal mortality rate is impacted by all causes of death during pregnancy and even after a couple of months of live birth. So we extended our analysis to all causes of death. We looked at death caused by all ICD chapters, and we plotted graphs that again show a disparity. African American women are at a high risk of death across all the ICD chapters, much higher than the percentage of the population. We further looked at deaths induced by drug and alcohol. Again, we find a similar kind of a pattern where states have population that is about 16%. In Virginia, you have about 22%, and the higher rate of African American women deaths. We extended the study further into injury and firearm-related deaths. Again, we saw a similar pattern. So the analysis brings us to the point that there's disproportionate risk for Black African American women, and there's a need for an integrated approach to address all these risks. We can take this study further for if granular data of maternity mortality is available within counties and regions within Virginia, or we can look at all causes of death across these counties and work backwards on leading indicators that point to maternal mortality within these regions.
And now, call to action. We cannot ignore the statistics that show Black African American women have a higher mortality rate than any other race in America. There are few small steps that we can take to empower these women. Developing an app for health tracking can help with timely intervention and treatment, creating supportive communities that foster awareness. Passing the bills that protect Black African American women can provide them with a stronger legal footing to fight against discrimination, racism, and unequal access to healthcare. We want to leave you with an empowering message.
On and act on our responsibility to bring visibility to the most vulnerable, to bring freedom to those who don't have a choice, to bring volume to those who are using their voice. We clear a woman's way. We don't fear the day she steps into the light because we are with her for every step of that fight.